Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 7 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab, scroll down to grade 7 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter integers. The lessons we're going to cover today are understanding integers, absolute value and opposite integers, integer inequalities with absolute values, and integers on number lines. Please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Here I am on grade 7 math lesson, that is understanding integers. Which integer represents the scenario? The scenario is removing 8 items from the washing machine. So usually the positive numbers represent the increase and the negative represent increase, gain, profit, that they all are represented by the positive numbers. And loss, decrease, they all are represented by the negative numbers. So removing means that is a loss or decrease. So that is represented by the negative number. So the integer -8 represents the scenario. Let's just start with the test questions. Which integer represents the scenario? Removing 8 plates from a stack. So again removing. So again removing is a loss or decrease, so that would be represented by the negative number. Which integer represents the scenario? 1 gallon increase in volume. That is 1 gallon increase in volume, that is an increase, so it would be represented by the positive number. Which integer represents the scenario $4 price reduction? $4 reduction. So reduction means that is the loss. So it would be represented by the negative number, that is negative 4. Three degrees warmer today than yesterday. So that is an increase in temperature. So it would be represented by the positive number. A puppy grows 2 centimeters longer. That is the growth, right? So growth means it would be a positive number. So that is positive 2. Removing 5 cars from a train. It would be represented by the negative number. So option number 1 is the correct option. Which integer represents the scenario? $9 discount. That is a discount. It would be negative 9. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which integer represents the scenario 8 degrees above 0? So that would be an increase, that is positive 8. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let's just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is absolute value and opposite integers. What is the opposite of 6? So opposite integers are the same distance from 0 but in the opposite direction. So that would be the opposite of 6 is negative 6. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the opposite of 1? Opposite of 1 is negative 1. Same distance from 0 but on the other side of the 0, so that would be negative 1. What is the opposite of negative 5? So opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the opposite of negative 8? That would be positive 8. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the opposite of 4? Opposite of 4 is negative 4. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the opposite of negative 10? That is opposite of negative 10 is positive 10. What is the opposite of 6? Opposite of 6 is negative 6. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the absolute value of 5, which is the correct option? Absolute values are the values that are the positive numbers. So 5 is already a positive number. So absolute value of 5 is 5. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the opposite of 6? That is negative 6. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the opposite of 1? That is -1. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the absolute value of 7? That is 7. Absolute values are always the positive values. What is the absolute value of 2? Absolute value of 2 is 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the opposite of 5? Opposite of -5 is +5. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the absolute value of 3? That is 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Integer inequalities with absolute values. Which sign makes the statement true? The absolute value of -4 and 4, you have to compare them, right? Either they are greater or smaller. Absolute values are positive or 0. Simplify the absolute value, then decide which sign makes the statement true. So absolute value of 4 is 4 because absolute values of negative numbers is a positive value. That is 4 is equal to 4. So they both are exactly equal. Let's just start with the test questions. Which sign makes the statement true? -5, you have to compare it to absolute value of -5. So absolute value of negative numbers are always positive. So that is -5, 5. So -5 is less than 5. Negative numbers are always less than the positive numbers. So -5 is less than 5. The correct option is option number 1, that is less. Which sign makes the statement true? -4. You have to compare it to absolute value of -6. So you have -4 and the absolute value of -6 is a positive value. So you're comparing negative 4 and 6. So negative numbers are always less than the positive numbers. So negative 4 is less than 6. The correct option is less. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which sign makes the statement true? 7 and negative 7. 7 and absolute value of negative 7. So the absolute value of negative 7 is 7. So they both are exactly equal. They both are exactly equal. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which sign makes the statement true? Negative 2, you have to compare it to absolute value of 0. So absolute value of 0 is 0. Negative numbers are always less than 0. So the correct option is less. Which sign makes the statement 0? 8 and absolute value of 4. Absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So 8 is greater than 4. The correct option is greater. Which sign makes the statement true? Absolute value of 3. You have to compare it to 0. Absolute value of 3 is 3. And you have to compare it to 0. So 3 is greater than 0. The correct option is greater. Which sign makes the statement true? They both are exactly equal. Which sign makes the statement true? Absolute value of negative 1, you have to compare it to negative 3. So absolute value of negative 1 is a positive number. That would be 1 you have to compare it to negative 3. So 1 is greater than negative 3. The correct option is greater. Option number 3 is the correct option. Which sign makes the statement true? Absolute value of 9. You have to compare it to negative 9. Absolute value of 9 is 9. So 9 positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers. So 9 is greater than negative 9. The correct option is greater. Which sign makes the statement true? Absolute value of negative 2, and you are going to compare it to 3. So absolute value of negative 2 is 2, and 2 is less than 3. The correct option is less. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which sign makes the statement true? You are going to compare negative 8 and absolute value of negative 8. So absolute value is positive and negative numbers are always less than positive numbers. So negative 8 is less than 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which sign makes the statement true? 5 and absolute value of 5. They both are exactly equal. Option number 2 is the correct option. Absolute value of negative 5 is 5 and 5 is greater than 2. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let's just move on to next lesson. Type the missing number. So we have to see how integers works on number line. So you need to find the missing number between 0 and negative 2. So that would be -1. So the first thing you need to understand the number line. Let me just explain. Okay. Here is the number line. Here is the zero. On the right hand side of the zero, you have all the numbers that are greater than 1, the positive numbers. And on the left hand side of the zero, you have all the numbers that are less than 1, less than 0, like the smaller numbers. So as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting greater and greater. Each next number is greater than the previous one. For example, here you have 3. The next one is 4. 4 is greater than 3. Then 5 is greater than 4. But on the negative side, as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. The next number is -4. -4 is less than -3. So the more far from 0, the more smaller number it is, right? Now let's just start with the lesson. So type the missing number. So which number is missing? That is the number between 2 and 4. So that is 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. The missing number is 3. Type the missing number. So which number is missing? That is 7. Option number 2 is the correct option. Type the missing number. So between 0 and 2, the missing number is 1. So the missing number is -2. Option number 2 is the correct option. Type the missing number. So which number is missing? The missing number is 2. Type the missing number. That is -3. Option number 2 is the correct option. Type the missing number. That is -4. Option 2 is the correct option. Type the missing number. That is 5. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is negative 5. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is negative 6. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 7 math. Chapter we are working on is integers. The lessons we have covered today are understanding integers, absolute value and opposite integers, integer and inequalities with absolute values, and integers on number lines. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you. Or either you can write down the questions in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So you can please ask questions if you have any. Any questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye everyone.